Saw some Bills defensive linemen make some big plays in their win over the Saints. Greg Rousseau got in on a two-point conversion tackle. And throughout the Bills' win, big plays made by defensive players. Cole Bishop, a key interception as well. We'll talk about all of it here with Chris Brown. Highlights of the game brought to you by Northland Workforce Training Center. Train for what's next. And Chris joins us here as we hang out. Heading into Week 5. 4-0 for the Bills, Chris. And, for better or for worse, some fans get a little frustrated along the way. But we've kind of seen a Bills formula here where they play their game. They don't make too many mistakes. And their defense, while it might get gashed at times, you've got some players able to step up and make big plays. And Daquan Jones, that was Deion Walker, Cole Bishop, Terrell Bernard last week. We're seeing splash plays in important moments.
Yeah, which was kind of the calling card last year, right, guys? I mean, they were second in the league and had the best turnover margin in football at plus 24, and we're traveling down a similar path right now, although the Bills did have, the turnover with the Josh pick. So I think turnovers and big plays are still the calling card. I think a lot of people would breathe a lot easier if the run defense was shored up considerably as the season wears on here. And look, in the first month of the season, you're going to have missed assignments. Teams all across the league are experiencing that as things get buttoned up. But the run defense, which came into the game giving up the most yards on the ground this season, people were saying, they played the Ravens and they ran it up on them. Saints ran for 189 yards yesterday. That's why they stayed in the game. That can't happen. That number's got to come down considerably over the next several weeks, or you're going to run into a situation where you simply can't get off the field, and maybe that big play that's bailed you out in previous weeks does not. And you heard Terrell Bernard address it. You heard Coach McDermott address it after the game. It's gap assignments, and it's missed tackles. I mean, there were 3 missed tackles on the Kendre Miller run to the end zone, and that's just got to get better. And the good news is it's correctable. You'll hear Coach McDermott invariably say today that they got to improve their fundamentals, and I think that's what is irking fans maybe more than anything else.
And, Chris, we had somebody call and say, what is wrong with the run defense? For McDermott to say, gap assignments. Is this a spot where youth is a part of this? T.J. Sanders and Deion Walker are getting a good chunk of snaps down there, and while they're, we're seeing some good plays, it ends up being about consistency over the course of a full game.
Right. I mean, at the same time, you've got a veteran like Joey Bosa who dived in on 3 separate plays and didn't set the edge, and runs got to the outside. I mean, that's a 10-year veteran. You can't make that same mistake 3 times. It got to the point where senior defensive assistant Ryan Nielsen subbed him out of the game because he kept doing it, and then he doesn't get off the field in time because he's arguing with Nielsen. So that stuff's got to get buttoned up, and that'll show up on film, and they'll get down to brass tacks and get it corrected. I have no doubt that'll happen, but I think they've got to really start to bear down on some of those fundamentals. And look, I go to practice. These guys drill it. This coaching staff drills it all the time. I mean, they go into rotations and they're doing fundamental tackling drills, fundamental fumble recovery drills, fundamental stack and shed drills. I mean, they do it all season long. Why it's not translating to the field on a consistent basis yet has to be figured out, and figured out quick.
Chris Brown with us on the Wester Hotline. Chris, the Cole Bishop play at the end of the half, he flies in from the other side and makes that catch. I mean, it might be the play of the year for the team, and I think it's a good moment for him, not just because it's a big spot and it's one of these splash plays, but it feels like he's been fine to good, maybe even better than that through these first 4 weeks, even beyond that play.
Yeah, and Eric and I and Sal were discussing it on the roundtable the last couple of weeks. We've seen noticeable improvement from his play. I think he's been confident in getting guys lined up. I think he's put the time in to know what he's looking at each and every week. He's prepared well, studied well, and that makes him more confident on the field. And a play like this is going to make him infinitely more confident going forward And I think for Bills fans, that was the kind of play they needed to see from Cole Bishop to be convinced. I mean, let's not forget. I mean, the Bills fan base has been spoiled for the better part of 7 years with Poyer and Hyde. And they need convincing to be told they're going to be okay at that position going forward. And it's like, well, this guy's only a second-year player. What should I'm parroting what I hear from Bills fans all the time. And I think that was the reinforcement kind of play that Bills fans needed to kind of feel like, all right. It looks like we're going to be okay here at this position. So good for Cole Bishop. He's busted his tail because he's lost a lot of time on the field in his first 2 years to injury. He's tried everything in his power to make up for that time, whether it was being here all winter with Taylor Rapp or trying to get extra time on the practice field after practice is over. And I'm happy for him that it's finally paying off.
Chris, further in the secondary, Tre'Davious White, he and Dorian Strong kind of platoon a little bit there in the game, and the coaching staff said that was part of the plan. We wondered, how they would start to handle young guy snaps and getting guys mixed in, and I wonder if that's a look at what might happen going forward, in part because of our updated timeline on Maxwell Hairston, where the Bills didn't want to rule anything out. So in the case that they need more playing time for Strong with Tre'Davious White out there, it'll be worth monitoring to see how they handle it going forward.
Right. And it was still, from what I saw on the snap count, heavily in favor of Tre'Davious as opposed to Strong. Whether that morphs and changes based on opponent and based on coverage and calls, we'll have to wait and see, since we only have a one-game sample right now. But to Dorian Strong's credit, I think he's playing good football in the practice setting. And we hear McDermott say it all the time. You earn the right to play, just like you earn the right to win. And that's just their process, guys. We know this. So I think if somebody is playing better in practice and outplaying somebody else at their position, they're going to get time on the field. Now, I think there's an enormous amount of respect for Tre'Davious White, who I thought had a pretty good game yesterday, made some plays, still good in the run front. So I think there's a balance there that the coaching staff is trying to strike, but it's very clear that Dorian Strong has impressed this coaching staff. And it doesn't matter, guys. We've seen it. Whether you're a first-round pick, a seventh-round pick, an undrafted free agent, if you demonstrate the capabilities to help this football team win football games, they will put you on the field.
Chris Brown with us. Chris, on the offensive side of the ball, what type of game did you feel like it was? They really hit a snag, it felt like, in the middle of that game. I think most fans got frustrated when that turnover on downs happened, when it went Ray Davis handoff, Ty Johnson handoff, and then Shakir, which was basically a handoff. But there were they responded after that. So, I don't know, do you feel like it was a good day from the offense and consistent? How would you label it?
Yeah, I think it was a little up and down. They got off to a great start because the Saints came in and said, okay, we're going to commit to the run front here, and we're going to play some man coverage on the back end. And they learned very quickly that that's a dumb idea because, the Bills had 14 points on the board in a wink, and Josh was killing them with the receivers on crossing routes. So then they change, and in the second quarter, they start playing cover two shell. And Josh tried to test that once, floated it a little too much because he had to throw off his back foot due to pass pressure as he's trying to hit Coleman down the field, and it's picked off on a great play by Jonas Sanker, who really impressed me yesterday. That rookie safety is a heck of a kid.
Yep.
With his pass coverage skills. And then, after that, it seemed as though they needed some time to find their footing again, and they leaned heavily on James Cook. And, once again, James Cook is arguably the most consistent player in the game and really has been a horse for this team through the first month of the season. They have leaned on him heavily, and he has not disappointed at all. And I think he was instrumental, in them kind of weathering the storm, so to speak, when they had those lulls, similar to, the lulls that they had against the Dolphins. I think it's important to recognize, and instead of being frustrated by that, to recognize how well the team handles that adversity when it does strike. the defense came up big for them when the offense stalled. I mean, Josh had 12 passing yards in the second quarter. I think they had 13 yards total or something. So to weather that storm and then put your foot back on the gas and finish the game, I think is what Coach McDermott, chooses to focus on most after they emerge victorious, because that is what it's about. I mean, you look around the league, guys, at all these teams and stuff that goes haywire. It's been crazy these first 4 weeks. And for the Bills to emerge through that stuff and still finish football games and not just win by the skin of their teeth, but win by double digits, I think still says something, even though I know fans are expecting more from this team. I'm telling you guys, I'm walking out of the parking lot going to my car, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, Brownie, what's going on?" He's like, I was like, well, I said to him flat out, I was like, well, another double-digit victory from what I saw on the scoreboard. And he goes, come on, these guys stink. I was like, wow. I was like, the level of spoiling for Bills fans has reached epic proportions, if that's the reaction to that game. So I understand it doesn't look perfect, but it rarely does in the first month of the season for most football teams, who usually hit their groove in week 6 or week 7. So, look, they can't play that way against great teams because you'll have a nail-biter like you did in week 1. But I think they're still figuring some stuff out on defense. It will get better. So let's just see where it goes here in the coming weeks.
How'd you enjoy Sunday 1 o'clock?
Oh, my God, it was great. Like, what was that? Steve calls it Chamber of Commerce Day. I mean, the mayor would order up a day like that if somebody was visiting his city, plus the flyover and, oh, my God, forget it. The whole thing is just, it's like you say, Jeremy, it's elite season.
It is. Mm-hmm. And from Sunday 1 o'clock to Sunday 8:20, we're right back to it for Bills and Patriots, which should be a good one. Should be fun.
Yeah, when's the next 1 o'clock? November?
The
something?
Bucks. The Bucks. The next home Sunday 1 o'clock is the Bucks. So I think it's a little over a month away. Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Thanks, Chris.
Take care, guys.
Chris Brown, his appearance here on Buffalo Bills Football Monday, brought to you by Northwest Bank. For what's next, get started at northwest.com. By Northtown Volkswagen, Western New York's #1 VW dealership. Shop online at northtownvw.com. And by Lockport Outdoor Store, high-impact gear for hardworking men and women.